Alcohol, the drinking of it, the not drinking of it, sobriety, and all that good stuff. The cause of and the solution to all of life's problems. The Simpsons.
Homer, you're drinking beer?
This is what I'm going to talk about. So over a year ago, I quit drinking alcohol completely. The last time I had a drink was at my friend Jack's birthday party last March. He had a Pokemon themed party and he was dressed up as Lieutenant Surge. It was very cute. And yeah, a bunch of people there. It was a fun time. The main reason why I do not drink alcohol anymore is because I have a medical condition. I have a rare autoimmune disease called autoimmune pancreatitis. And while alcohol is not the cause of my pancreatitis, it can inflame the pancreas and cause me to react. So over a year ago, I decided to stop drinking. I made a video about it on my main channel and nobody watched, but it was fine. Now, I am not completely anti-alcohol. I do see the benefits and the social utility of it. I also am aware of the many drawbacks to drinking alcohol. Believe me, not just on a societal level, but individually and how you feel within your body as you're doing it. A lot of my peer groups started drinking around high school age, but I was very straight edge, so I never drank until I hit the tender age of 19. I was a summer camp counselor way back in the day, and during one of our days off, I was with a bunch of friends and we got a bunch of alcohol and marijuana. And I thought to myself, hey, I'm around company, I'm around people I trust. Let's try out this beer thing. So I did. And it was fun. Throughout university, I would go to parties and drink. I would get drunk. Sometimes I would get too drunk. But that's just the way it goes. When you don't have a lot of drinking experience, part of the experience of drinking is learning what your limits are. And sometimes you go beyond that, and that's when you don't have a good time. The worst it ever got for me was just like getting sick and throwing up and maybe embarrassing myself on an occasion or two, but hey, that just comes with the territory. Beyond that, there were a lot of really good times as well. When you go to parties and you're able to drink and socialize around people, it's fun. One of the major benefits of alcohol is obviously the lowering of the inhibitions. I tend to be a very anxious person where I get very much cerebral and in my own head, and I'm thinking a lot. And the way alcohol interacts with me allows me to be a little bit more looser, a little bit more playful. It makes for good times for me and for other people, so long as you don't drink too much. But albeit throughout this entire period, my drinking never became to the point where it was a problem for me. I always drank within a social context. It'd always be among friends. It'd always be at social events. It would be at parties. It would be at concerts. It would be anywhere where I was not inside by myself. It was used as a social lubricant to kind of enjoy myself and vibe with other people. I think like that is the key benefit of it. Obviously, you get to meet a lot more interesting people. You have a lot more interesting experiences. You can just, vibe with people. It's fun. But again, like with any drug, it's very much dependent on set and setting. There were times where I was in a very negative headspace and not feeling good about my life. And when you combine alcohol to that, it only amplifies that feeling and makes you feel worse. There were times when I was in college or university, and I was feeling very existential about my life and the direction in which it was going. I would spend nights out with my friends drinking and we get really drunk. And then I would just get sad because I would think about my life and I'd be like, ugh, what am I doing with my life? And then you just get into a sort of a head spiral. So that wasn't great. The thing is, if you are going to drink or if you do partake in drinking, you have to kind of be aware of where your mental state is at, because alcohol can enhance those negative feelings and make you feel even worse. And then, of course, there are the physical effects. If you drink too much, you get sick, you throw up, you feel gross the next day. Hangovers are never fun. That is one of the major detriments to drinking, is the next day you just feel gross and sick. Although a hangover meal just kind of hits the spot in a way that no other meal sometimes can. You just get a greasy hash brown, it just kind of absorbs all the poison right out of you. One of the things that I was able to do throughout my years of drinking was I was able to balance it in a way where I didn't need a lot to get drunk. I began to understand my own limits when it came to drinking so that I would be able to drink responsibly, to get a good buzz going, to be able to mingle in a way, but not go overboard where I would just become sick and wasted. And that served me well. Of course, sometimes you just want to get fucked up, and it can be fun to get fucked up. I'll admit it. Maybe not too fucked up. But still, there came a point where I realized that I didn't want to rely on alcohol as a crutch in order to socialize. I don't like being a prude. I don't like judging other people for their habits and behaviors. But if you have to rely on doing that every single time, then it just becomes a crutch which you have to rely on in order to socialize and have a good time. And then you begin to wonder, is it me or is it the alcohol? Is it me or is it the drug? I think that is like a little bit of a hindrance because you don't actually learn about yourself. You don't actually learn kind of like how to kind of like do this sober. And it is very empowering in a way when you learn how to have a good, fun time at a party, at a social event where people are mingling, people are interacting, and you're just able to like go in there completely sober. Plus, you feel way, way better the next day because you can actually go to sleep on time. You don't feel sick. You're not hungover. You go, you socialize, you have a good time. It's amazing. So there was a period in my life where I went out to parties and I started doing everything sober. I stopped drinking. I only maybe drank casually 1 or 2 beers to catch a buzz. But even then, I like severely cut down on my drinking. And what I discovered was it's very empowering when you go out and you're just able to vibe with people and everyone else is still drinking. You're sober, but you're still having a good time and you're able to socialize. Part of the experience that comes from a previous level of drinking is that you know that feeling intuitively of what it is like to loosen up and vibe. And when you're at a club or you're at a party or you're at a casual event with people and everyone's sort of like drinking or having a pint or two, you get a little bit of a contact high that way where everyone loosens up and you loosen up a bit, but you're still able to maintain your sobriety as you do it. And then you just don't end up making dumb decisions later because you drank too much or you got sick and you still feel good the next day. You're able to go to sleep. You're able to wake up the next day and it's great. I've gone to parties where I've gotten hammered. I've gone to parties where I've just drank casually, and I've gone to parties where I've been completely sober. And to be honest, they all kind of blur together. So it's like, why would I not want to be sober, right? Another benefit is that you save a lot of money. I'm around friends who a lot of them will smoke cigarettes, they will vape, they will drink alcohol, and that price does add up. I don't know if you noticed this, but drinks when you go out are very expensive now. Inflation. In my humble opinion, they are about double the cost of what they should be. So I feel that way about everything. Even having a casual drinking habit where you go out on a night and have 2 to 3 drinks, that money can add up. And when you're not spending that money on alcohol, you can spend it on other things like tea. Do you like tea? However, alcohol is a poison. You are harming your body when you do it. There are all these negative side effects when it comes to drinking. It can affect your sleep, your metabolism, your appetite, your weights. You know, if you're trying to get into shape, if you're trying to, build a gym habit, and you go out on the weekend and you party all weekend, that's going to affect your sleep. That's going to affect your recovery. You're not going to be able to train as hard when you get back to the gym. So while I do think that it's good to party and live life, understand that what you do will have consequences. Alcohol is one of those things where if you're not careful, it can quickly spiral out of control. I live in the world and I am aware of the extreme detrimental effects that alcohol can have on people, on their livelihoods, and on their families. Not an idiot. There are people who cannot drink because they cannot control themselves around the substance. They have very addictive personalities. But it's one of those things where if you are able to be honest with yourself and you are able to enjoy it recreationally and responsibly, then that's fine. Which is why I'm always kind of leaning on the fence this way in terms of it really depends on who you are and your life situation. Some people can have a drink or two and be fine. Some people cannot drink at all. I happen to be in the latter category, not because I get addicted or I abuse this stuff, but mainly because I can't because of medical stuff. Now, to be perfectly clear, if I could have a drink or two on a night out and be fine, I would have a drink or two on a night out because That's sort of the level in which I got to where I felt comfortable with my level of drinking. As you get older, the hangovers get much worse, and you are not able to recover as you used to when you were of legal drinking age. So as a natural consequence of getting older, I just kept on drinking less and less until now I don't drink at all. The benefits of sobriety for me has just been the confidence to go into social situations and understand that I can vibe and hang out and have a good time without requiring additional substances. Now, I do like to party. Let me make that clear. I like to alter my consciousness and get fucked up occasionally, but I don't have to, right? That was the main driving point when it came to drinking alcohol. I just wanted to socialize and vibe with people and have a good time. And when you learn how to do that without drinking, you realize that you don't really have to drink to begin with. So it's like, why would you want to deal with the negative side effects of drinking? And again, there is a level of empowerment that comes with that, where you know, based on your own social acuity, that you're able to go out and have a good night. You're able to socialize, be fun, be engaging, do all the things you want to do. And you don't require an alcoholic beverage in order to do so. I haven't had a drink of alcohol in over a year. It's gotten to the point where it just feels natural to me not to go out and not to drink. If you were to tell me that I could not have a drink again for the rest of my life, I would be at a point where I'm like, that's fine. I've had my good times with it, and it is what it is. I think it's just having the experience of gone through that in the past and knowing what it feels like that makes you sort of set for life. And when you are sober, you have that baseline of feeling good all the time. So alcohol can make you feel better shortly, but then not so good after. So yeah. So if you do occasionally drink alcohol and you want to try sobriety, I would recommend trying sobriety for a bit. I think sobriety can be a good thing. I definitely feel better on a day-to-day basis. Don't have to deal with hangovers. I don't have to deal with, all this fatigue that comes from drinking, all the guttural issues, etc., etc. If you don't want to drink completely, if you don't want to touch this stuff forever, that's fine. If you like drinking casually, that's fine. I think it's important to experience things in life and to enjoy life. I don't like hating on people who drink or consume substances. No. Just be a fun and interesting person, regardless of what goes in or out of your body. Preferably in. I don't want out, because if it's coming out of you, it might be like, bleh.
Nothing gets to you, staying fresh, staying cool, with Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better. Mentos freshness. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.